Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I decided to jump on here. You've probably seen a bunch of videos already covering the first two episodes of Obi-Wan Kenobi. Yeah, just released on Disney Plus this past Friday in the backdrop of Star Wars Celebration. For those of you who know me, I'm a big Star Wars fan. For those of you who don't, yes, I'm a huge Star Wars fan. I don't cover a lot of Star Wars content though. Um, I plan to do quite a few more videos, maybe covering some lore or film reviews, things of that nature, but right now, nothing committal. But I did want to share some of my first thoughts concerning Obi-Wan Kenobi. I've been waiting a long time to see this series. I've caught up on the Book of Boba Fett, The Mandalorian. Um, yeah, I've pretty much seen everything except the new animated Bad Batch series on Disney Plus. But essentially, yeah, I'm pretty caught up on the live action series that Disney has released so far. Um, I have quite a few thoughts on Obi-Wan Kenobi. You've probably seen reviews with people piping in saying it's either something they love or something they hate. Not very many folks are going to give you an in-between cautiously optimistic analysis of what they've just seen. A lot of people are either on one end of the spectrum or the other. But yeah, this video, I'm basically just going to share some of my thoughts concerning the series so far. Some of the pros, some of the cons. My primary concern with the series, but off the bat, I will say I enjoyed it. It's good. I like the cinematography. I love Ewan McGregor. I guess I'll start with the pros. I like Ewan McGregor back as Obi-Wan Kenobi. Um, it's nice to see him back in this way. Be forewarned for those who haven't seen the first two episodes, this is going to be spoiler heavy, so I'm going to share a few details regarding some of the plot. I'm not going to go give you a full breakdown. There are better channels doing that right now, so go check them out. They're probably going to give you a play-by-play analysis. I'm just going to share my thoughts concerning the things I liked or didn't like about the first two episodes. So, yeah, Ewan McGregor, I'm happy to see him back as Obi-Wan Kenobi. He's in a different place than we've last seen him. The series takes place 10 years after the end of Revenge of the Sith. So he's in hiding on Tatooine, watching over little Luke. Luke is like 10 years old around this time, and Obi-Wan Kenobi's basically this recluse. He works at this like meat processing factory farm type locale near Mos Eisley, I believe. Um, he's cutting meat. That's all I know. I don't know if it's for a Tatooine food distributor or whatnot. But he's broken. He's alone. He doesn't feel like a Jedi anymore, at least to himself. He's pretty much in the beginning throes of the Ben Kenobi that we'll meet a little while later when he's Old Man Ben in the desert. So, but Ewan McGregor as always does a great job bringing Obi-Wan to life. The opening scene is fantastic. Probably one of my favorite scenes among both episodes. It's pretty much the fall of the Jedi Temple. We kind of see a quick flashback scene of the 501st, the clone troopers, raiding the Jedi Temple and massacring the Jedi. And you see a bunch of little Padawans with a who I we will know is a young Reva with them, and they escape. And it's really nice to see actual people in clone trooper armor. Like I will say, I loved the prequels and the way they gave us clone troopers. I understand that George had a certain amount of time to put those movies out, and he wanted to show things on a grander scale regarding the clone troopers, but it's nice to see guys in actual clone trooper armor because it actually felt like they were there. So it's the first time we're ever seeing real people playing clone troopers, so that's nice. Um, Very intense scene, but for prequel people, you're gonna love that. You're also gonna love the beginning recap. They kind of recap the first three films from Phantom Menace to The Revenge of the Sith, just so people who haven't watched those or caught up on Obi-Wan Kenobi's story and his relationship with Anakin, so that's always nice. It's a very it's a series that establishes its tonality off the bat. It's not very optimistic. It's kind of dreary, it's kind of dark. I mean, there's some optimism, but it's kind of overshadowed by this omnipresence of the Empire, and I'll get into that in a second with some of the characters. But yeah, Obi-Wan, the opening scene, definitely cool. Um, there's a young actress portraying a young Princess Leia, and she's nice. She acts well. Luke doesn't get very much exposure in the first two episodes. We just kind of see him in a scene, kind of hanging around with Uncle Owen and on the moisture farm, kind of pretending he's a pilot, and that's really it. Yeah, Luke doesn't have a presence really at all in the first two episodes. He's kind of just there and then he's gone. Um, Rupert Friend. I'm not too familiar with a lot of his work, but he seems to capture the essence of the Grand Inquisitor pretty well. There were rumors that Jason Isaacs, who voices the Grand Inquisitor in Rebels, was supposed to be the Grand Inquisitor here, but something there may have fallen through. I probably hear a siren. God, this mic is picking up everything. Um, uh, but that's always he did a good job. I like the Grand Inquisitor. I like his. At first I had reservations. People were like, "Oh, he doesn't look like the animated version." Well, I mean, you're never going to really capture the animated version's essence without really either piling on the practical effects or you're going to really CGI the heck out of his face, maybe use a little motion capture to kind of build up over his face and add some features or kind of elongate his cranium or so yeah, I think he does for this series it works well. The design, Rupert Friend's acting, the concept of Reva. Now when I say concept, I literally mean in the strictest sense. The concept of Reva is good. She's a former Jedi Padawan during Order 66's purge of the Jedi has kind of developed this not I wouldn't only say repulsion, but this ire, this anger with the Jedi and everything they stood for. And she obviously works for the Empire. She's the oh no, off the top of my head, I believe it's the third sister. Because I think there's another Inquisitor called the fourth sister. I believe Reva's the third sister. Um, and she's very voracious. She's very angry. I mean, it's her mission to kind of bring Obi-Wan Kenobi in. So that as a concept is great. Now I'll get into how it becomes a problem a little later. Um, but to kind of round out the pros, Kumail Nanjiani as I believe Haji or Hodge or something like that. He's kind of this guy on again the name of that planet eludes me at the moment, but there's this Obi-Wan Kenobi goes somewhere to rescue Leia. Leia's kidnapped by these by on Reva's orders from these mercenary type dudes, and little Leia is taken, and Obi-Wan Kenobi tracks her down because Bail Organa, Jimmy Smits is back. That's always nice. Enlists his help. Obi-Wan Kenobi has reservations, so he has to go and eventually come to terms with he has to go and save Leia. He didn't want to, but initially because he didn't want to leave Luke. But God, where am I going with this? Oh yeah, Kumail. He's good. He's some nice added comic relief. He doesn't have a particularly big part to play. I hope that they kind of revisit him later in the series. He plays this guy pretending to be a pretending to be a Jedi, and he's running a scam where he's helping people figure things out or solve problems, and he's pretending he's using the Force, and he's just pretty much he's a charlatan. He's not a Jedi. He's just a scam artist, but he actually ends up helping Obi-Wan Kenobi. Um, I don't want to say that's really it, but that's really it. And those are the really hard-hitting, solid points for me. Um, there isn't anything else I really enjoyed. These are the things I've mentioned here. Is the stuff I enjoyed. I really enjoyed in these first two episodes. I mean, I can say, Alderaan, we do get to see Alderaan. The environment's beautiful. They're going to bring Alderaan to life. We've never seen Alderaan like that before. I don't believe we have. I'm trying to go through prequels. Absolutely not. Sequels, and I mean, aside from seeing it from I won't say atmospheric, but from a space view on the Death Star with Tarkin, no. Sequels, no. I mean, Alderaan's mentioned. I believe I haven't really watched a lot of the Clone Wars animated series. There were two variations of it, and then Rebels. I haven't really seen that, so I don't know if they visit Alderaan. Maybe you guys know, but it's the first time I'm seeing Alderaan in that way, so it was nice to see that. And also, just being back in Mos Eisley and seeing Tatooine's always great. Um, Now to move over to the cons. All right, let me go through my notes here because there's quite a bit I gotta I gotta get through. Um, First humorous one, and I'm only bringing it up because it plays a part in two very important scenes. Little Leia, apparently, when she's chased, everything else around her slows down. And I'm not even kidding. The first time she gets captured on Alderaan, she's running, and it looks like she's in slow motion, but then it looks like all the adults chasing her are in slow motion too. And it really, and it looks comical. It's like it broke the tension for me. Like at first I was like, "Oh no, these guys are gonna grab her." I was like, "Why are they moving so slow?" They're tripping over things like they're the Three Stooges. Like they're bumping into branches. One guy literally, I kid you not, there was a branch directly in front of him. I get at a horizontal angle, and he stops, and then he literally just kind of slow walks into it, and then goes, "Oh no!" and then he goes around it or goes under it. What? And then there's another point where a guy like trips on a branch, and instead of jumping over it like the grown man that he is, I mean the thing is like literally a foot and a half off the ground. It's like a stump or some thick vine or something like that. Leia's like scurrying around the bush like some injured mouse, and she can't really move. And she's a little kid. I'm not faulting the actress. They told her run, and she ran, and maybe she can't really run that fast. But the problem is they told everybody else don't run as fast either, so it looks ridiculous. And it kind of feels like somebody should be playing like yakety yak in the background as she's running away from these mercenaries trying to kidnap her. Um, so that's that. Reva, her arc. Now, I mentioned what I liked about her was the concept of Reva. Now, so far, what I'm seeing is there are criticisms from people saying that Reva, this is like a bait and switch situation, that Reva's going to overwhelm Obi-Wan's story. And right now, I don't see that being the case. I will say I am worried, though. I have some concern that maybe along the line we will forget who we're supposed to be watching the show for. We're watching it for Kenobi, obviously, but we're going to be waiting to see if, oh, is Reva going to be redeemed? Is she going to turn on her dark side compatriots? But yeah, I really hope that they know that she's not supposed to be the person we're following in the overall arc. I mean, she has her own arc where maybe it is a kind of a redemption. I'm going to get into how I feel like they're already setting us up for a little bit of disappointment, maybe a lot more than I'm hoping they don't, but she ends up killing the Grand Inquisitor in the second episode. At the very end of the episode, she kills Rupert Friend's character. And this is the equivalent of somebody killing, I mean, like them doing a Tarkin series, right? Or a series where, and then Tarkin is in it, and he has an established canon, and he has a history, and he's supposed to be alive for a certain period of time. And then out of nowhere, some rebel, or I won't say some rebel, maybe somebody significant to the story, like shoots Tarkin in the chest, he dies, and then it's dramatic, but it's kind of like, what the hell just happened? Why did they just kill someone who appears to be a primary antagonist? Because right, I mean, they're setting her up to be the maybe primary antagonist. I know Hayden Christensen's back as Darth Vader. I don't know how much he'll be in the series, and what they'll actually do with him, but to have Reva kill the Grand Inquisitor who already has an established canon in Star Wars lore with Rebels, and Disney has acknowledged, I believe Rebels is considered canon, and the Grand Inquisitor is going to be alive long after this moment in time in the Star Wars timeline. It's weird that they'd have her kill him, kind of like in it's kind of like a big fu to Star Wars fans in a way. I'm like, well, why'd you do that? Rupert Friend is infinitely more interesting than the actress playing Raven. Not that I have anything against her. So far, what I've seen from her is that she's very keen on overacting. She has an intensity about her, which I like, but the overacting, I was like, I mean, this kind of feels like daytime special right here. I don't know why she's overacting in scenes that she doesn't need to be, especially with um, Owen on Tatooine when she was interrogating him. But that was disappointing. I really feel like I hope he's not dead. I hope that I mean, it wouldn't make any sense so far. I mean, that's one thing they've retconned. The Grand Inquisitor isn't supposed to be killed by Reva. That makes no sense. But again, this is only I'm only discussing my first two episodes. We don't know what else is going to happen. A big one. This is probably the worst offense. Obi-Wan Obi-Wan Kenobi didn't know that Anakin survived and is Darth Vader. Now, for to present an argument, sometimes you got to bring up the opposing side's argument here. So I'm going to bring up how a lot of people have defended this creative decision by the folks working on the series, that Obi-Wan has been a recluse for about a decade. He doesn't know what's going on with the galaxy. He never saw Palpatine save Anakin. Uh, Maybe he couldn't put two and two together that uh, there was some way that his former apprentice survived, and maybe doing something in the galaxy without him knowing. That's kind of like the same point I just made. No, no, what is, maybe he hasn't heard of Darth Vader. Maybe he hasn't had any interaction with him. Maybe, I mean, I will say to their credit, historically speaking, whenever a new regime or a new government takes over and they're very fascist or they're very totalitarian, sometimes what they'll do is they'll completely, well, sometimes there have been a lot of cases in history, but uh, they will impose their own type of propaganda history upon on their new subjects or new the citizens of their domain, so to speak, and they'll completely revise or erase parts of the history before to present this new, brighter, clearer future for the people that they now control. And sometimes that means either omitting the truth altogether or completely reconfiguring the truth so that they believe that it is the truth. Now, whether or not I believe Palpatine has this immense control over the entire galaxy where he can literally stamp out rumors, somehow there's imperial news outlets that are saying that they don't really, well, they don't really talk about Vader. Maybe Tatooine doesn't get information about the rest of the galaxy. I mean, they are on the Outer Rim. They're kind of their own autonomous little part of the galaxy, run by the Hutts or syndicates or what have you. But it's really strange to me that in a world, a universe, well, I'm going to set a universe in the way that this is Star Wars is a place where communication travels literally at lightning speed. I mean, you can send you can project a hologram from one ship on one planet to a planet light years away. It's really strange to me that Kenobi in all his his travels back and forth. I mean, he doesn't really go anywhere on Tatooine, but Mos Eisley is a pretty bustling spaceport with a lot of people coming to and fro, and you're telling me that not even one individual has uttered or said that there's a Darth Vader, this dark-clad avenger for the Emperor who goes around mercilessly killing Jedi or helping the Emperor control planets and bringing down system resistance. I mean, it's a stretch. And it's a stretch that if you're willing to kind of defend, I get it, because historically speaking, you're right in instances, but we're talking about countries, or sometimes even, not even countries, states, regions, that have actually been successful doing that, where people have been completely unaware. I mean, some Germans after World War II even said that they had no idea there were things as concentration camps in existence because the Nazis were so good at saying that they were work camps or they were quote unquote relocation camps for deportation. So they had no idea that millions of people were being gassed and killed. So it has happened. And if you're good at propaganda, I mean, but we're talking about a galactic scale here. I mean, Palpatine would have had to hire countless people to cover up the fact that there was a Darth Vader, and two, um, stamp out any rumor that Anakin Skywalker, Jedi, somehow survived and is Darth Vader. To have Reva know that Anakin is Darth Vader, I mean, I'm just thinking to myself, how does she know? How does she know? Who told her? Are you telling me Darth Vader confided in her that he's Anakin? I mean, she's like on the hierarchy. You would think that, I mean, see again, I'm not familiar with the Grand Inquisitor's history, but I would feel like Rupert Friend's character would be the guy to know that Anakin Skywalker is Darth Vader. Reva kind of seems like the underling, the rebellious underling who just was confided in by Vader himself and said, "Oh yeah, hey, by the way, I'm burdened up Annie, and now I'm Darth Vader, and I need you to get Kenobi for me." Or, I mean, it just doesn't make a lot of sense that Obi-Wan Kenobi wouldn't know on his own that Darth Vader and Anakin Skywalker are the same person. I mean, if you go back and watch A New Hope, it's um it's pretty clear the way George Lucas kind of set up the original trilogy that Obi-Wan kind of knew. I mean, maybe he didn't know for sure, but he kind of knew that there was a chance that Anakin survived and or Anakin became Darth Vader. I mean, by the time you see Return of the Jedi, I mean, that's where the whole line of from a certain point of view about the truth came to be. It's like Obi-Wan didn't want to tell Luke the complete truth about his father, that Anakin actually became Darth Vader. Technically, Darth Vader killed, quote unquote, killed Anakin in spirit, and Anakin became Vader. So for Obi-Wan Kenobi, the series, to kind of retcon that really crucial narrative in Obi-Wan Kenobi's overall story, it's kind of, I wouldn't say cheap, but it's okay. It's a little cheap. It's a little cheap just for the, the big reveal. It's not to Star Wars fans or people. I mean, even casual viewers or people who at least remembered the original trilogy in some way. They'd be like, wait, didn't everyone already know he kind of was? I mean, it wasn't that big of a secret after a point in time. So I don't, again, this is where my concern comes in that Reva, they're trying to make her into something much bigger than she should be. If she's an enforcer, if she's this ravenous inquisitor, let her be that. Let her just be a villain. For God's sakes, let her be a villain. Stop trying to make every villain into some redeemable, courageous, fantastic human being. I mean, she's an inquisitor for a reason. It's like the Grand Inquisitor just waking up and saying, oh, you know what? Killing people is bad. I don't want to be this anymore. But no, Reva's gonna. If they're going down that path, they're gonna disappoint a lot of people, and they're just gonna take the spotlight. And it needs to be a spotlight. The spotlight needs to be an Obi-Wan Kenobi. People have been waiting years to see Ewan McGregor back in this role, and for them to see him back with Hayden of all people, it's like a dream come true, especially for kids who kind of grew up with the prequels. I mean, I remember I was in middle school when Revenge of the Sith came out, and my mind was blown thinking I was actually going to see how Anakin became Darth Vader and how the Emperor rose to power. So for me, it kind of hits a little harder than the old school Star Wars fans. I mean, uh, Hayden and Ewan, they're from my generation Star Wars. I mean, little kids growing up with the prequels and seeing how that story played out. So for them to kind of go back and even retcon some of that stuff, it's like, oh my God, it's like, guys, if you want to introduce us to a point in Star Wars history, you can do that without completely kind of crapping on some of the stuff that's been established already. You can bring a Reva into the picture. There isn't a problem with the Reva. Um, Reva as a concept is fine, but don't make Reva's arc trump Ewan's arc. It's not right. Don't do it. And I hope they don't kind of pull the trigger on that. They're already giving me some concerns. So yeah, so that's a big one. Other than that, let me go through my notes here. There's a lot to be desired in part two. I felt like it was rushed near the end. They kind of try to tie up things really quickly again because they're trying to put Reva into the picture. So these action sequences where it's fine to just Obi-Wan Kenobi to fight off these bounty hunters looking for a little Leia as they make their escape off that planet. We have to make sure that Obi-Wan Kenobi doesn't keep playing with the idea of continuity being this fluid, ambiguous creature that you can just kind of retrain. Um, his interactions with Leia even kind of prove a little problematic, where it's like he's revealing a little bit too much information to her, where it's like later she has no idea who he is. Because I, I believe in the A New Hope, does Leia actually interact with Obi-Wan in a way when they go rescue her on the space station? No, not really. I'm trying to think. God, it's been a while since I've seen A New Hope too. Uh, but I think we can all agree that continuity is important to keep an arc going in the right direction. You have to kind of stay true to the continuity of the source material being Obi-Wan's history in the original trilogy and the prequel trilogy. So they need to kind of stay away from that, kind of put up that danger sign, kind of back up. Those, Dave Filoni, Jon Favreau, who else is working on the series? Um, just kind of hold your horses for a bit. Don't keep going down that path because you're going to start screwing up things that you shouldn't be touching. Um, but yeah, that's really it. That is really it. I don't want to go on long. Oh shoot, I'm going on half an hour already. Jesus Christ, I wanted this to be this. Oh my my thoughts on the first two episodes. Oh, this won't be a regular review, and it was longer than my last actual episode of Unhinged. So, um, yeah, it's I enjoyed Obi-Wan Kenobi. I have there's some things I really enjoyed about it. The stuff I didn't enjoy are problematic things that, from a writer's perspective, they're gonna go they're teetering over the rabbit hole with these first two episodes, and in some instances they have like 1 foot kind of press forward, and they have like they're doing a balancing act. The gears are turning in your head that I'm like, oh no, they're going down this road again. They're gonna start messing with things they shouldn't mess with. It's like you have a beautifully painted house with a nice color, and then you just go and grab a bucket of paint, and then you splash a little paint on it to see what it would look like with a different coat of paint on, and then you're like, oh no, now I gotta start covering that up. So I don't know what to say. It's just I enjoyed it, but I also know that it has some problems, and for people to ignore that would be to have blinders on. I'm not going to say, oh, I blindly hate it. This is the most terrible thing I've ever seen. This is the worst live action Star Wars series Disney has put out. No, it's not really the case. It's only the first two episodes. I mean, you can't judge an entire series based on the first two episodes. If that was the case, oh my God, look at some of the past shows that we've seen. The first two episodes have been just slow, just full of exposition and stuff that, you just got to start building up to get to the good stuff. But I will say, yeah, I kind of see some problems on the horizon, though, that they could snowball and then turn into avalanches with which which suffocate us all as fans. So that's that. I hope you kind of enjoyed my rambling first thoughts on Obi-Wan Kenobi. I might edit this a bit just so I kind of clear up some of the external noise you might hear. Maybe not. I just want to get this out as soon as I can. Again, there are other channels doing much better coverage of the first two episodes of Obi-Wan Kenobi and talking about every specific scene or detail that they pick up, maybe Easter eggs. I don't have time to do that. I have a big 14th episode of my series coming up that I have to start working on for you guys. I'm trying to put out more episodes sooner than later. I'm not going to put forth a timetable though. So anyway, much love, much appreciation, and I'll see you guys here next time on my channel.